Here we go. Woo! Monday. Monday. That's what I'm looking for. Here we go.
Now, Chris Duel.
It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. I don't have to run day.
Thank you, Bengals. Chris Duel Show on a manic Monday. The Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, Jeremy Kolok, the hardest working man in radio, with the soothsayer basketball predicting mom, who is in second right now in our tournament challenge, and she has Kansas to win. One of the many things we will talk about this morning. Welcome in. So much to be happy about, especially Spurs fans, as yesterday everything went the Spurs way. There were 3 games that affected the Spurs on the NBA schedule yesterday and last night, and all 3 went the way we as Spurs fans would want them to go. Early in the day, the Denver Nuggets knocked off the Los Angeles Lakers 129-118. And then the LA Clippers beat the New Orleans Pelicans by night 119-100. And yesterday at the AT&T Center, evening game, 6:00 tip-off, Spurs beat the Portland Trail Blazers 113-92. The second time in 3 nights the Spurs knock off the Portland Trail Blazers. So Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, in short order now, it seemed like that number 10 seed was really in question until recently, but now the Lakers have lost 6 in a row. And as we wake up this morning, the Spurs' magic number to go to the play-in tournament is 2. Combination of Spurs victories, Laker losses. Even if the Spurs did not win another game, the Lakers would have to go 3-1 or 4-0 in their last 4 games, and they've lost their last 6 to keep the Spurs out of the playoffs. I mean, we don't think the Spurs will go 0-4 in the Final Four. They'll win 1, 2, or 3, I believe. Shannon, I don't want to get cocky, but I'm quite confident that the Spurs are headed to the play-in tournament.
If this was the scenario you told me about at the beginning of the year, that it would come down to the Lakers getting some losses to help the Spurs out, and the Lakers with a stacked roster name-wise, and the Spurs, the young guns that are still trying to work together and get something, foundation for the future. You talk about those Spurs wins over the weekend. I'm now looking at the Lakers, the rest of the schedule they have. They kick things off with the Suns tomorrow. Of course, one of the heavy contenders and favorites for the championship. They actually took a strange loss to the Thunder over the weekend, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they will likely beat the Lakers. And then they take on the Warriors. And as we know, the Warriors, not a team to be messed with. The Thunder, as we said, who just had a great game and defeated the Suns. And then they end with the Nuggets. So I'm really liking the Spurs' chances right now, just looking at the Lakers' schedule alone.
And while, right now the focus is kind of the Lakers, you want to make sure you dispatch them. Spurs now have a 2-game lead over the Lakers with 4 to play. As I mentioned, Shannon, the Pelicans lose in Los Angeles to the Clippers last night, 119-100. The Spurs are now 1 game behind the Pelicans with 4 to play. They hold the tiebreaker, so all the Spurs would have to do is pick up 1 game on the Pelicans in these final 4. And what that means and why that is significant, the way the play-in tournament works, number 10 plays number 9 in the first round of the play-in tournament. 7 and 8 play, and 9 and 10 play. And the winner of 9 versus 10 takes on the loser of 7 versus 8. What that means, though, is the Spurs, if they can catch the Pelicans, and the chances got better last night, Spurs would have a home game in that game against the Pelicans. It's looking almost certain now it will be Spurs versus Pelicans in the first play-in game. The only question now is, will that game be in San Antonio? Will that game be in New Orleans? So, while it's looking good against the Lakers with a magic number of 2, Spurs have a shot to get to that 9 slot, which means a home game against the Pelicans.
And we like home games, sir. We love a home game.
Yes. Yes, we do. So very, very cool. A little bit later in the show, Shannon will play some audio. Manu Ginobili, we knew it. Word had been released, but it wasn't made official until Saturday by the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame that Manu would be in. So Manu had a press conference on Saturday. Bill Schoening, our good friend and the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, was sitting in the front row. We'll hear Manu's comments, but Shannon, one of the coolest moments, Manu sees Bill in the front row, and as we know, Bill Schoening has called every game Manu played for the San Antonio Spurs. Manu's eyes lit up. He said, "Bill!" And here he is, the press conference for his great achievement of going into the Hall of Fame. And Manu, congratulates Bill Schoening for his 2000th consecutive victory. Typical Manu, very humble, always affirming someone else. Just another cool Manu moment. And Bill Schoening, Shannon, as you know, has such an affection for Manu Ginobili. Just listening to Bill all these years, I think Manu is easily Bill's not only favorite Spur, but favorite player ever, probably across all sports. So for Bill Schoening, that had to have been so cool. I'm happy for him.
Bill just released his book last month, and I feel like he could probably write an entire book just about Manu alone. But given the shout out he just received from him, I mean, that's a chapter that I mean, if how like albums and artists will do like deluxe editions 6 months later with like a bonus song or two. Can we get a Bill Schoening deluxe edition of his book with like added like the call and response from what just went down with Manu?
You know what? You probably have a really good idea for Bill. He should write an entire book about Manu. Nobody more qualified. Bill's seen every Manu dribble and called it. And he, they say write what you know and write what you love, and he loves Manu. That would be a tremendous. And Manu knows him, so he could certainly have access to Manu. He could easily write a Manu Ginobili biography. So very, very cool. Let's welcome in our Soundscape stylist, hardest working man in show business, and the son of an incredible basketball prognosticator. His mom, Gail, right up there in our basketball challenge. Jeremy Kolok, how are you doing, sir, on this manic Monday morning?
I'm doing very well. Like I said, like you mentioned, Chris, just a perfect day yesterday in the Spurs realm. And we've got some more college basketball tonight that I should probably ask my mom about just to kind of get her opinion on how it's going to go.
We might have to get your mom on the show as our national championship game correspondent. That national championship game is tonight. I believe tip-off's at 8:20. I'm pulling it up right now. So I talk fact and not memory. Is it 8:20 tonight, Shannon?
8:20. It's a late one. It's a late one.
Yeah, late for us. Late for us. That'll be on TBS. The Kansas Jayhawks, 33-6 versus the North Carolina Tar Heels, who North Carolina came into this tournament as an 8 seed. So it's a 1 seed versus an 8 seed. Clearly, obviously, both teams on a roll to make it to this championship game. But Shannon, I'm pulling for Kansas. Big 12. The Big 12 needs more respect. All we hear about is East Coast basketball, ACC, and I know Kansas is a blue blood, but maybe if Kansas wins this thing, maybe a little more respect for the Big 12 and what all teams in the Big 12 have to go through to survive that ordeal and that gauntlet of all those great teams led by the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, in Kansas this year, because the Big 12 is such a gauntlet, were not viewed really as a huge favorite to start the season. You know, they took a loss to Texas. There were some other losses in there that people thought, oh, this team isn't for real. You know, they still get a number 1 seed because they are coming from the Big 12. And they did end up winning a fair amount of games, but they weren't getting the respect I think we're used to seeing them get. And whether or not that's because other storylines just were better than them. Ultimately, they're the ones in the championship game. And like you, I like them to win the whole thing tonight. That is actually our poll question today over on Twitter at Ticket760 AM 1300 The Zone. Pretty simple, asking you who will get the win, the Jayhawks or the Tar Heels. And right now, a lot of people with us, Chris, with the Jayhawks leading our poll, 76% saying they will win another championship tonight.
That's a big number in the early voting. So go vote in our poll. You can get to it via Twitter at Ticket760 at AM 1300 The Zone. Also want to mention the live video feed is up and running. Already got a lot of people joining us on the live video feed. Tracy Bogart, Anthony Del Toro, Hector Gomez, Ofa Lin joining us from Singapore. Ofa's a big Spurs fan, joins us on Spurs broadcasts frequently. Cody Webb, Jorge Chapa Jr., Kevin Monk, Joe Garcia, Eric Winchester, Wes Perkins. Wes Perkins, our resident Texas Tech fan. Don't forget that free iHeartRadio app. Not only are we crystal clear on the iHeartRadio app, but you've got a way to talk to us instantly. When you listen, you go to either AM 1300 The Zone or Ticket 760 via the iHeartRadio app. At the very bottom of the screen now, there's a microphone button. You press that, you leave us a message, whatever you want to leave us. You want to pick tonight's national champion. You want to give somebody a shout out. You got a gripe, you got a complaint, you got a praising, you want to celebrate something. That is the thing to do. We love it. We love hearing from you. It is direct contact, and we play those on the air. So if you want to be on the radio instantly, that is one way to do it. Shannon, we will talk more about tonight's men's national championship game, but last night, the South Carolina Gamecocks, I think in a bit of an upset, even though they were a 1 seed and UConn was a 2 seed. But yeah, UConn is just such a perennial powerhouse. I just assume when UConn's in the Final Four or the women's national championship game, they're going to win it. But South Carolina not only wins, they win pretty convincingly last night. They beat UConn 64-49. So congratulations to the other USC, the South Carolina Gamecocks. They are your women's basketball national champions, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think the big story, you know, kind of the star of the tournament was Paige Buchers for UConn. People were calling her, you know, Bucher buckets, and they held her down. They held her to just 14 points, and she was still the team's leading scorer there for the Huskies. So, you know, they clearly came in with that game plan, and it worked to their advantage. And Carolina Gamecocks, your national champions for this season, with a 64-49 victory.
Now, you did a women's bracket, Shannon. How did you have either of these teams? I know you're very partisan. You're very brand loyal.
Mm-hmm.
You go with your alma mater. You picked the Texas Longhorns to win it in the ladies bracket. Did you have UConn or South Carolina going deep?
My final was Baylor, Texas, so not as deep as they went. I'll be honest, my women's bracket, like the men's bracket, I felt I was in it much longer this year, and it's usually reversed. But the women's bracket, that first weekend, that bracket was torn up. That was not my best effort. I'll be honest, on the women's side of things. So I just enjoyed the tournament as it came.
You were not only Texas Longhorn loyal, you were Big 12 loyal.
I wanted that storyline, yeah.
Loyal.
I wanted the ultimate revenge.
Texas versus Baylor.
I wanted the haters to be like, well, they only won because Kim Mulkey wasn't there, that kind of thing. That's where I was going with it.
There you go.
It's creating my own narrative and not
to
paying
cover.
attention to anything else.
Very nice. We got a lot to cover all morning long. Lots more about what happened over the weekend with the men's Final Four and, of course, tonight's national championship game that we mentioned. Tiger Woods, will he or won't he? We saw photos and footage yesterday of Tiger Woods on the golf course practicing. at Augusta National for the Masters. Man, it's looking like he may play. And my goodness gracious, what a great story that will be. Hope Solo, the prolific one-time goalkeeper for Team USA in women's soccer. She's back in the news, and it's not good news for Hope Solo. Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders in hot water again. And the Grammys last night, I'm going to need Shannon and Jeremy to school me because once again, I'm looking at the Grammys. I'm going, I don't see any Eagles. I don't see any Linda Ronstadt. Who are these people? I know John Baptiste. He was big last night in the Grammys. I know Bruno Mars. He was big in the Grammys. But we'll walk you through the big Grammy Awards last night as well. You can join us at any time on the phone lines, 800-707-9760. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney, the high five play of the day, coming up in just a few moments. Oh, and we're really excited. Just after 8 o'clock, we are going to talk baseball, baby. Opening day is this week, not only in Major League Baseball, but in minor league baseball as well. CHRIS ALMENDAREZ, the president of the Round Rock Express, going to talk baseball with us just after 8 o'clock. Big show between now and 9 o'clock. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Good morning, Beth Settle. Welcome in. You're up early. AD Ibarra. See who I see. Tracy Bogert, the chairman of the Bexar County MAGA Republicans and Vladimir Putin supporters. Anthony Del Toro, Hector Gomez, Ofa Lin joins us from Singapore. Cody Webb, Jorge Chapa Jr., Kevin Monk, Joe Garcia, Eric Winchester, Wes Perkins. Yeah, I know, Eric. No Engelbert Humperdinck in the Grammys. I'm a little bummed. Woo! All right. I'm going to go on a coffee break. Not a break. I'm just heating up my coffee. I am going to procure some coffee. Wearing the John Lennon t-shirt today with the autograph. No reason. It was like the first thing I grabbed this morning. I did a Spurs game last night and did again all the way through this Thursday. I'm doing WOAI's morning news. So the sleep deprivation continues. So yeah, in the morning it's like just okay, John Lennon shirt. Kind of how it works. See, I think I need to heat my coffee. Yeah, I need a little nuking action. I'll be right back. Give you some Jeremy Kolok for your viewing pleasure. And I'll be back probably in about 90 seconds. There he is. You know him, you love him. You can't get enough of him. Chicks dig him. All right. I have coffee. And I see Lucinda Sullivan with the coffee emoji. I'm with you on that. 3 coffees and a sleeping person. Actually, if you read left to right, it's a sleeping person and then 3 coffees. Exactly, Joe Garcia. What is this sleep I speak of? Let me see something here. Where is... Ah. Rick Escoto. Welcome in, Rick. Okay, now I'm going to play. We've got Manu's audio from his press conference. I just want to see here.
I thought you were playing tomorrow. Good to see you. Bill, what's up, man? Great to see you. Talk about streaks. Congrats, man. That's incredible number. All right. Shoot, great. Well, there was well, first of all, hello to everybody. There was some, conversations along the way, and people telling me that it was going to happen. Nothing official, but so I was building up confidence in that it was going to happen. So I wasn't that surprised, but I got a call on Monday from the Hall of Fame saying
it's the Manu press conference I'm listening to.
I voted in, and yeah, before it was those rumors, and the moment that you get the confirmation is quite special. As I said up here, you never expect to start playing ball because you love it, because it's fun, because you're there with your friends. In my case, because it was almost a family mandate. We were all by the club and we all played and we all loved it and we talked about it and we just carry on, and that passion, that drive starts to build up, and one thing brings to the other one, and now when I thought there were not going to be more surprises after my career was done, you get recognition like this, which makes you think, go back a little bit on time and relive your story, and it's incredible. As you know, it's been a long career, and luckily I went through a lot of great moments. So, of course, winning gold with your buddies, representing your country, is something that I have nothing to compare with, right? Because it's something that you're not supposed to live, being on the team. Maybe if you are LeBron James or you're, one of the greats in America, in the States, you can hope that happens. If you're Argentinian, you don't. You just want to be there. And for us to have the opportunity to grab gold was something that you can't compare. But at the same time, also, 4 rings with the Spurs. It's incredible. Players go through careers fighting for one. Maybe they get one. But we were lucky enough. And not only to win a championship, but do it consistently and with a core group of players that were together the whole ride. So both things are incredible, and when you go back and you relive those moments, it's amazing that you had the opportunity to do it. I actually
All right. I think I found my out time.
I actually miss sometimes the locker room.
Okay, I'll write this to you, but the Manu, we're going to do the first 335. He opens up mentioning Bill, so we'll go 0 to 335, but I'll write that out for you. We'll do that in the 7.
Nice day to start again.
We're Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Coming up, we'll hear from Manu Ginobili. We'll do that just after 7 o'clock. We've got a portion of Manu's comments and his opening remarks, in fact, from his Saturday press conference. And first thing he does is recognize Bill Schoening. We'll let you hear that. We talked a little bit about that. We'll talk more Spurs, of course. Big win last night for the Spurs. Big 2 wins over the weekend over Portland. Everything going the Spurs' way lately in their quest to get to at least the number 10 seed, possibly the number 9 seed for those play-in opportunities. Their magic number is now 2. We're talking national championship game as well. I want to remind you, you can always join us on the live video feed. You can get there from Facebook Live on the AM 1300 The Zone or Ticket 760 pages, from those radio stations' Twitter pages as well. There's a YouTube portal into the live video feed also. Don't forget the free iHeartRadio app, where we are always crystal clear, and you've got a microphone button where you can talk back to us instantly. Anything you want to say, what's on your mind, positive, negative, shout outs, jokes, picks, who you picking in the national championship game tonight between North Carolina and Kansas. And that, of course, is our poll question this morning as well. So far, most of you believe the Kansas Jayhawks will finish the night as the men's NCAA basketball national champions. Coming up a little bit later in the 7 o'clock hour, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays. As I mentioned, we'll hear the voice of Manu Ginobili, his reaction to getting into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. And we'll talk a little baseball and more in the 8 o'clock hour. Chris Almendares, the president of the Round Rock Express, going to join us. But right now at 6:39, it is time for the High Five play of the day, appropriately sponsored by High Five, 2 locations in the Austin area. Everything to satisfy your sports, your gaming, your culinary, and your thirst needs. Shannon, tell the people about High Five.
Well, as Chris said, they've got a little bit of everything for you out at High Five. And don't forget, they are now doing trivia on Tuesday night. So as it is Monday, go ahead, make your plans to check out trivia on Tuesday night. If you're heading to High Five today, it's 50% off Monday. That's all access passes for just $22.50. All you can bowl, along with shoes, and all you can tag out at that Lakeway location, as well as a 100-point player card for all of the arcade games and more. Check out High Five, 2 Austin area locations, one out in Lakeway, one in Central Austin on Anderson Lane. Chris, today's High Five, I think, goes to a man who deserves it because for whatever reason, he's been getting a lot of hate. And I don't get it. I get that Duke in general, when we think of, the evils of college basketball, I think the Blue Devils of Duke University come to mind. But I don't know why Coach K is seen as evil, because to me, he just looks like a nice man who's been coaching for forever, and he's happened to win a few games here and there. But Saturday night, his coaching career officially came to an end when they lost UNC in the Final Four, 81-77. And although it was a loss, I think it's a loss that they can be proud of, given, the game before, Kansas-Villanova. Not super interesting by way of entertainment. I'm sure if you're a Jayhawk fan, you loved every second of it. But Final Four, we want tight games. We want close matchups, and that's what we got with this UNC-Duke game. Really came down to the final minute of this one. Ultimately, the Tar Heels walk away with the win and hand Coach K not only his final loss, but that team, or school rather, handed him his first ever loss, as well as his last game in Cameron Indoor coaching. As we recall, they were the ones that handed him that loss as well. So they officially laid Coach K to rest. Coach K, an incredible coaching career, both for the University of Duke as well as with the Olympic team. He's a 6-time gold medalist for the USA team. He's a 5-time national champion at Duke, has over 1,000 career wins at Duke. You add a couple hundred more for his career. It's insane what he's done. The relevancy of that program, I think, has relied heavily on him. When you think of Duke basketball, you think of Coach K, and then you think of all of the players that have been through that locker room and have played on that floor. And as much as everyone wanted to talk about what's next, he just was a positive guy post game, saying, he wanted to do this ride or die with his team. If they were going to be, crying tears of joy or crying tears of sadness, that he was going to ride it out with them either way. And when asked about what he might miss most, he talked about the arena following that game on Saturday night. We've got that clip here for you.
I've been blessed to be in the arena. And when you're in the arena, you're either going to come out feeling great or you're going to feel agony. But you always will feel great about being in the arena. And I'm sure that that's the thing when I'll look back that I'll miss. I won't be in the arena anymore. But damn, I was in the arena for a long time. And these kids, made my last time in the arena an amazing one.
Chris, I'm sure we will physically see him back in the arena at some point, taking in some Duke games as a spectator, and I'm sure the ghost of Coach K will forever live on in Cameron Indoor. But I think a really great perspective from him. We talked a little earlier about Manu Ginobili officially announced as the Hall of Fame inductee for this year's class, and he actually talked about, what he missed about the game. And it was very similar to that arena concept, right? Being around a team, being in a locker room, just an atmosphere that you can't create when you're outside of the game. But a high five to Coach K on what's been an incredible career. I can't wait for your Michael Jordan type 10-part documentary, because with 42 years coaching the game, he deserves it. We mentioned some of his accolades. I don't think you're deserving some of the hate that you get. I'm sorry that people are making funeral t-shirts about you, but don't worry, that'll come to a pass, I think, once a championship is crowned later tonight. Chris, your thoughts on Coach K and the way he went out?
Well, when I hear him use the term the arena, to be in the arena, Coach Mike Krzyzewski is a high achiever, and most high achievers, when you mention the arena, they are very familiar with that famous Theodore Roosevelt quote about being in the arena. I've pulled it up, and since he mentions the arena, I'm just going to go ahead and read it.
Excellent.
Because as I read this, don't forget that Coach K is a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. We lose sight of that. Here's the Theodore Roosevelt arena quote. It goes, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. When you speak of the arena, that's so many people are familiar with that. That's one of the great quotes in American history. And Shannon, just, I pulled up Mike Krzyzewski's Wikipedia and his bio. And first and foremost, this is a kid out of Chicago who went to the military academy, went to West Point, played basketball there, wound up being the coach there before he was the coach at Duke. So an interesting parallel there to Coach Greg Popovich, who was an Air Force Academy graduate, and both of them coached Team USA to Olympic gold. Coach K did it. Pop was on his staff, and we know Pop just did that in Tokyo. So I'm shocked, Shannon, and we live in such a cynical society. And I know it's not the majority of us who are cynical, but it's the loud ones on Twitter and on social media who are just mean and cynical. And I think a lot of times, Shannon and Jeremy, that hate comes from jealousy because those haters are not in the arena. That Theodore Roosevelt quote speaks of those cold and timid souls who will never know victory nor defeat. Those are your haters. Those are your mockers, that your cynics who all they want to do is attack somebody who is a high achiever. Mike Krzyzewski, like him or not, and like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick winning all those games for the Patriots. I got tired of that. I got tired of Duke winning all the time. But you know what? Those guys are high achievers. Those guys are doing great things. And Shannon, I'm totally with you on this. Mike Krzyzewski should be celebrated as an American and as an American sports treasure. That's what he is. And it was a tremendous run that we just bore witness to that came to an end over the weekend.
Yeah, it was certainly a moment. And I got to be honest, I was watching, there was a group of people, and I realized towards the end, specifically when it was kind of trading baskets at one point, that everyone else was rooting for Carolina. And I was like, what, do we not want to send Coach K out on the highest note that we possibly can?
Yes.
But ultimately a great Final Four game, an incredible matchup. And, I think a lot of people are saying, if you're going to lose and that's your final game, that's it. Wouldn't you rather lose to one of your all-time opponents, one of your biggest rivalries, a team that is well-respected and deservedly so, in a close matchup game on a national stage where everyone is watching? Wouldn't you rather? I mean, I get like, oh, well, everyone watches you lose. But that game could have been like the Kansas or Villanova game, right? Where Villanova just, clearly was the lesser opponent. And they could have lost, earlier on in the tournament to a higher seed, right? I think that this was just kind of the way it was meant to be. There is, we mentioned it. He opened losing to UNC. He lost his final home game at Cameron Indoor to UNC. It's a little poetic that this is how he loses once again.
I want to get Jeremy Kolok's comments. Jeremy, you are a big-time college basketball fan. Certainly a sports connoisseur. Your thoughts on the end of Coach K's career and his career in general?
That might have been the greatest rivalry game in sports history. I mean, that just with the implications, the magnitude. I know there's people that are always going to start chirping about Barcelona and Real Madrid when you start bringing up the rivalry thing. I get it, whatever. Yankees, Red Sox, I get it. But that just with the implications, with everything on the line, you have Coach K's last loss before that coming to UNC at Cameron Indoor. Just everything going into it. Their first ever matchup in March Madness ever between the two programs' storied history. And then just coming down to the wire with it felt like the entire country watching just to see how Coach K's either career was gonna end or go on to that final game to keep the magical run going. It felt like everybody was invested, and like y'all mentioned, a lot of people were going against Duke, but it still felt like to me that everybody wanted it to go one way or another. It didn't
Yeah.
seem like everybody was just kinda like, "Oh, whatever happens, happens." No, people cared about that game, and I'm here to make the argument. I'll hear out other games. There's been some great rivalry matchups throughout history. But with everything that went into that game on Saturday, I think that was the biggest and the best rivalry game in at least American pro sports or American sports history. Of course, that
Wow.
wasn't a pro event, but I mean, I thought about it a lot last
Yeah.
night. That was huge.
That's a great perspective, and it is something to talk about. What A is the greatest sports rivalry, and B, what is the greatest sports rivalry game? You know, a game against just one game in a rivalry. You know, Texas versus OU is a great rivalry. You know, what one game with everything on the line was the best of those games? It's a tremendous question. And again, I'm stunned that there were so many and are so many Coach K haters, and I'm Shannon. You know, just like the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, I was getting tired of them always winning, but at one point I had to come around and say, you dudes are good. You dudes are very special, and that's where I arrived at the end with Coach K. It was you know, if this weren't his final season, I probably wouldn't be pulling for Duke in at all in the game. I would have been a neutral observer in Duke versus North Carolina, but for his opportunity to close it out in a big way, I really wanted to see it. And as you say though, and it ties into the Theodore Roosevelt Arena quote, Shannon, if you're going to go down in a game that, as Jeremy describes it, is the greatest rivalry game ever. Go down daring greatly and fighting valiantly. And that's what Coach K and Duke did over the weekend.
Now, I know we're coming up on a minute here, but now I'm like, okay, with the way this loss happened, the type of game it was, who they lost to, say Duke wins and they play Kansas and then they lose to Kansas, and it's not necessarily a beatdown, but not as close as this game was. I mean, I almost would say, no, go ahead and kick me out in the Final Four rather than
Yeah.
the championship.
Yeah. Yeah, going down, fighting a battle against, I mean, it's almost mythological, you know, fighting a battle against your arch enemy and fighting to the end and going down to the wire, and you win some, you lose some, and not everybody rides off into the sunset like John Elway or David Robinson after winning a title. Very, very big moment over the weekend in college sports and in sports in general. Coming up, among other things, we'll hear the words of Manu Ginobili at his press conference over the weekend. We'll talk all things national championship game, NFL, Major League Baseball, and more. Don't go anywhere. It's the Chris Duel Show. Eric says, I swear it's more fun. It's way more fun to watch these games when you don't care who wins. And then the wink. So I'm assuming that is sarcasm. Funny. All right, let's see. So I got the Manu. Okay. So the Manu from 0 to 335, and I'll write in the chat the outline is, it's amazing that we had the opportunity to do it. So I'll write that so you have it. But you were able to find that file? You've got that file? Yeah, I got it. Cool, man. Paul Lamb, welcome in. Paul says, personally, I was cheering for Coach K in the tournament. I enjoy watching goats add to their goatness. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I listened to Colin Cowherd. Doug McCoy, as it turns out, Beth Settle, who may be in here right now, is lobbying for, she wants to take the bus to work, and therefore I would drive her car, and that way we wouldn't have to do an exchange. I would love to talk her out of that. Maybe I'll text you after the show, or I'll text you now. But I think it's going to be hard to talk her out of that. But anyway, that is Doug McCoy, my brother-in-law, who is kind enough to loan me the truck you see in his emoji. That is a 1969 Chevrolet green pickup truck that he has maintained for decades. And I am without a car and have been for 3 weeks. This is the week that my engine is supposed to arrive and go into my car. But Doug has been kind enough to loan me his truck to get to work. Back to Paul for a sec. Colin Cowherd says, so many of us, and I'm one of them, I pull for the underdogs. I like the Rocky Balboa story. But there's something special about greatness. And he says what you say, Paul. He pulls for greatness. I know. I don't want her on the bus, Doug, because I was going to text you, but since you're listening now, I'll just tell you. I don't want her on the bus because I think COVID is still an issue. If you're in a bus, you're in even wearing a mask, you're in this enclosure with God knows who for an hour. It's like 45 minutes to and from downtown on the bus. So my bottom line is, and if you've already taken the truck back to where you store it, then I would go ahead and say, all right, we'll just do it this way. We'll let her take the bus, which I don't want to do. She's fighting me hard on this. But if the truck is still at your place, because I don't want to put you out again, Doug. Doug stores his truck across town, has to go get it, has to get a ride there, get it, bring it back. So I don't want to do that. But if the truck is still at your house, all right, I will text you after the show, Doug. If the truck is still at your house, making it an easier exchange on your end, she will go kicking and screaming if I try to, because I reluctantly agreed to the bus thing, and that's tomorrow. But in any event, Doug, I appreciate it. You're very kind. By the way, the weather looks good this week. If you want to do a pool thing, thank you very much, Doug McCoy. Supposed to be cloudy today. There are Spurs games on Tuesday and Thursday. So maybe Wednesday, Doug McCoy, if you and THE rock. There she is. Look at this. My family dispute is right here during the break. That's my wife, Beth. She says, I'm taking the bus. But Beth, look, Doug says no worries. It's all easy. Come on. I don't want my wife riding the bus if she doesn't have to. And my biggest issue, and Doug, she's got to walk. She's got to walk like a mile to get to the bus stop. She's got to walk from where we live to the McNay Art Museum at Austin Highway and North New Braunfels, which is a very busy intersection. I don't know, Beth Settle. I may See, ever heard of COVID? Ever heard of COVID and being on a bus for 45 minutes each way on a bus, breathing the air of 30 other people? Doug McCoy, I don't want my wife getting COVID. I don't want my wife on a bus. I don't want my wife standing at an intersection that is got cars flying by at 50 miles an hour. It's like I'm outnumbered here 2-1. Jason Paniagua. What a great day to go and play. Maybe do something new. It's so easy when you take the bus via. I'm all for the bus. I'm just not down with COVID. Doug McCoy. Come on, man. Come on, Doug McCoy, a little help. Whose side are you on? Back me up. I saw a Real Time with Bill Maher. It came out on Friday night. Thank you, Doug. And Friday night was April 1st. And Bill Maher comes out and he goes, Will Smith, you know, I saw the thing at the Oscars. And I want to tell you, Will Smith, no matter what, I've got your back. And then he goes, April Fools, you're a dick. It's very, very funny. Great. Well, that was an interesting top of the 7 o'clock hour. All right, Doug McCoy, if anything happens to my wife Tuesday on her trip downtown, I'm holding you personally responsible. I will make your life a living hell. Anyway. Thanks for nothing, Doug McCoy. Thanks for sending my wife on a bus. And by the way, for everybody in here, in countries that have eliminated or relaxed mask mandates and social distancing, COVID rates are skyrocketing. And they've begun to skyrocket again in China. And epidemiologists, doctors, scientists, and experts believe another wave is coming. I'm just saying. I know we're tired of it. I know they're telling you it's over. It ain't over. I'm not saying be afraid. I'm saying be very vigilant. And don't take the bus if you don't have to. That's all I'm saying. Eric Winchester. There you go, Eric. Eric, remember this moment when you said it's over. Talk to me in a month or two or less. Got some Manu audio coming. Okay, there you go. There's a good answer. COVID or not, never take the bus if you can help it. Now, buses are nice, and the Via bus system's very nice. Well, look at that. Taro, you didn't tell me that. You're holding out on us. You're going to move to Shanghai from Tokyo? That's breaking news, man. I keep seeing more and more Taro photos of people he's met, restaurants he's eaten at. His trip to San Antonio from Tokyo was a whirlwind success. Wow, for 6 months. That's pretty cool, man. Okay, here we go with little Manic Monday. At one point here, we'll play the Manu audio. Among other things, he says hello to Bill Schoening at the very beginning of the press conference and cites his streak. Gonna mute mute the audio for a moment because our evil overlords at Facebook, led by Mark Zuckerberg, the android, boot us off the air if they hear music for more than 15 seconds. So here's a little pause just for a moment.
Chris Duel.
It's just another manic Monday. It's just another manic Monday.
Thank you, Bengals. It is just another manic Monday, but this one is in April 4th, 2022. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, Jeremy Kolok, the hardest working man in radio, whose mom picked Kansas to win it all in our bracket and might just pull it off with that prediction from the get-go. Lots to talk about this morning. Tonight's national championship game between Kansas and North Carolina. Tiger Woods, will he or won't he play in the Masters? Spurs are on fire. Yesterday and last night, everything went the Spurs' way. Spurs win, Lakers lose, Pelicans lose. The Spurs' magic number to make the play-in tournament is now 2. With 4 games to play, any combination of 2 Spurs wins and Laker losses guarantees the Spurs will be in the play-in tournament. And yet, with the Pelicans loss, the Spurs now 1 game back of the Pelicans with 4 games left to play. Spurs hold the tiebreakers against the Pelicans and the Lakers. So if the Spurs can catch the Pelicans and go to the number 9 spot in the Western Conference, the Spurs would have a home game in the play-in tournament against the Pelicans, which would be absolutely beautiful. Just some of the things we will talk about this morning. You are welcome to join us on the phone lines. The old-fashioned way, we'll take your call at 800-707-9760. You want to talk to us instantly and leave a comment, go to that free iHeartRadio app. At the very bottom of the screen, there's a microphone button. You can leave us a message. We get it instantly. We play it on the air because that's just what we do. Coming up a little bit later, just after 7:30, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. This day in sports history, sports birthdays, baseball opening day later this week. Just after 8 o'clock, we'll talk with the president of the Round Rock Express, Chris Almendares, will join us. Lots going on, not only with the Round Rock Express, but Chris, big baseball guy. We'll talk all things baseball with him. And Shannon, other than watching Final Four basketball this weekend, as you mentioned, during the high five play of the day, you were with a lot of North Carolina fans, or at least people rooting against Coach K and Duke, which I think is just wrong. Well, you know, anything else you do interesting over the weekend?
Well, the people came with a crawfish boil that we hosted. I don't like crawfish, so there was also chicken and sausage involved, as well as the usual potatoes and corn. It was very, very yummy. Yeah, they weren't fans per se. I guess they just preferred Duke not to win. Also apparently not very into basketball, because during those final 5-10 minutes, there was a lot of questions coming my way that I was like, can we just watch the score? Everything else doesn't matter. It's whoever has the highest score at the end wins. That's what's important here.
See, that's why I hate Super Bowl parties. Like I've been watching football since summer. This is the final chapter, the grand finale. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to answer your questions. I don't want you talking about something other than football. I don't go to Super Bowl parties anymore. I just, you know, I want to fight people for annoying me during Super Bowl party. Plus, even the commercials. Don't talk to me during the commercials during a Super Bowl party, because the commercials are must-see TV also. So I've learned the hard way. I stay home.
Well, we know that the commercials throughout the March Madness series have all just been Lily and AT&T, so we can skip those. But I had a great time, great food, great company. But yeah, a lot of questions being
Good.
thrown my way there at the end. I was like, do I look like the rule book holder for basketball? I don't think so. I left it. I forgot to bring it.
You
I'm
are
so
Shannon
sorry.
Salty Sweeney.
Well,
You talk sports for a living on the radio. You people go to you for answers.
I don't have them all the time, you guys.
So,
I don't. And I was a couple adult beverages in by that point, right? Later game, I was thinking about other things.
what was your adult beverage of choice for the Duke North Carolina game? What were you imbibing?
Chris,
in?
I'm still recovering. I'll be quite honest. I'm still in recovery mode. Woke up with a headache this morning because the issue ahead of time was that we didn't have a lot in the outdoor fridge, and we're like, well, people are gonna bring stuff. But the issue when you do that is that yes, people bring stuff, but from all the people we had, they all brought something different. So every time I'd go to the fridge, I'd be like, oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. So it was like a mix of seltzer and beer, which is fine. It's there was no hard liquor to like make it that much worse, but the variety was insane. So yeah, I'm still it's a rough Monday for me. Yesterday was pretty rough too.
I don't
Lots of couch time.
I love beer, Shannon, but I don't totally get the seltzer thing. I mean, I've tried it. It's it kind of tastes like a Fresca with different flavoring, either blueberry or peach or whatever they throw in. There are some people who love the seltzers, and God love them. But you had some. Are you now a seltzer person?
I really wasn't too into them until recently. But they're lighter calorie. They are refreshing, right? Summertime, a little bubbly. But I grabbed beer first before I got into the seltzer. We'll make that clear.
Okay. Let me just check with Jeremy Kolok. Jeremy, do you venture into the seltzer realm?
I don't know.
Hard seltzers?
It's not my cup of tea, for
Okay.
lack of a better. But if y'all saw how much the seltzers are dominating college campuses,
Oh my
then
gosh.
you would understand
Yeah.
why you see so many commercials for them and stuff.
They're huge. Yeah. I mean, they're insanely popular. And if college kids are guzzling the seltzers,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Well, and I think
the beer companies are making money.
I think on some of them their alcohol content is a lot higher than your average beer, I want to say, which is also part of it for said kids.
I didn't realize
the
that.
So
children.
it's more efficient because less calories and
Yeah, and occasionally there was like one. I saw one seltzer. It was like a special Bud Light seltzer in a
Bud Light
solid
Platinum
blue can.
seltzer.
It was like a. That was it.
I think
It
it's
was
like 8 or 9%.
4% alcohol. How much?
I think it's 8 or 9 because I think a regular is 4.
8 or 9%.
Let me
Wow.
double check that.
Yeah, because I had one, and in fact, he was on our live video feed earlier. My brother-in-law, Doug McCoy, showed up, and like you, Shannon, we had an assortment of different drinks in the fridge, and that Bud Light Platinum Seltzer was in there in the solid blue can, and I handed that to him, and he like drank it, like, whoa, this thing's got a kick to it.
8%.
So, yeah,
8% on those platinum seltzers.
my goodness, wow. All right. Maybe I'll have to rethink the seltzers, but they are the rage right now. All right, we wanted to play this for you. It was a big moment. I know we've got a lot of Spurs fans who listen, and if you're not a Spurs fan, just like Coach K, this guy's a legend. This guy's special. And even if you're not a Spurs fan, how do you not like Manu Ginobili? I've said it for years and years and years. Tim Duncan may be the greatest Spur ever, but I really believe Manu Ginobili is the most beloved Spur ever. People just love him because he's real. He played with heart and soul. He played hurt. He took so many shots to the nose. Brent Barry nicknamed him El Contusion. He caught a bat with his bare hand one night. He's just amazing. And he's so authentic and humble. And such a great guy. And I think I brought this up last week, for Manu Ginobili to play in San Antonio, Texas, which is a majority Hispanic, Latino, Mexican-American city, and speak Spanish and come from South America and really connect with all the fan base, whether you're Latino, Anglo, African-American, whoever. Everybody loves Manu. And I'm so happy he was elected on the first ballot into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. As many people have said, including Don Harris, the sports director at News 4 San Antonio, even if Manu never played in the NBA, he would be a Hall of Famer for all of his international basketball accomplishments, yet he was great in the NBA. And his winning percentage is something insane, like 741 as an NBA player. So he had a press conference on Saturday at the Spurs facility. Seated front row was our good friend, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And I want you to listen very closely at the beginning of this press conference because one of the first persons Bill recognizes in the audience, that Manu recognizes in the audience is Bill. And he says, Bill. And then he cites Bill's record of 2,000 consecutive broadcasts, which was just very, very cool of Manu. So that's at the very beginning of this clip. Listen very closely for it. These are the opening comments from Manu Ginobili at his weekend press conference after it was made official that he is in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
A lot of familiar faces. There you go. You look like an athlete. Are you about to... Okay, I thought you were playing tomorrow. Good to see you. Bill, what's up, man? Great to see you. Talk about streaks. Congrats, man. That's incredible number.
I've been voted first question, so.
All right, go. Shoot, Greg.
Who told you? How'd you find out who told you, and what was your reaction when you found out you were going to?
Well, there was well, first of all, hello to everybody. There was some, conversations along the way, and people telling me that it was going to happen. Nothing official, but so I was building up confidence in that it was going to happen. So I wasn't that surprised, but I got a call on Monday from the Hall of Fame saying that I was officially voted in. And yeah, before it was all rumors, and the moment that you get the confirmation is quite special. As I said a few minutes ago, is something you never expect. And you start playing ball because you love it, because it's fun, because you're there with your friends. In my case, because it was almost a family mandate. We were all by the club, and we all played, and we all loved it, and we talked about it, and we just carry on, and that passion, that drive starts to build up, and one thing brings to the other one, and now, when I thought there were not going to be more surprises after my career was done, you get a recognition like this, which make you think, go back a little bit on time, and relive your story, and it's incredible.
Do you have a favorite memory, a favorite moment?
As you know, it's been a long career, and luckily I went through a lot of great moments. So, of course, winning gold with your buddies and representing your country is something that have nothing to compare with, right? Because it's something that you're not supposed to live, being Argentinian. Maybe if you are LeBron James, or you're, one of the greats in America, in the States, you can hope that it happens. If you're Argentinian, you don't. You just want to be there. And for us to have the opportunity to grab gold was something that you can't compare to anything. But at the same time, also, 4 rings with the Spurs is, it's incredible. Some players go through careers fighting for one. Maybe they get one, but we were lucky enough, and not only to win a championship, but do it consistently, and with a core group of players that were together for the whole ride. So both things are incredible, and when you go back and you relive those moments, it's amazing that you had the opportunity to do it.
Manu Ginobili, his introductory comments on Saturday at his press conference again. One of the first things he says is hello to Bill Schoening and congratulating Bill on his streak of now more than 2,000 consecutive Spurs broadcasts. And Shannon, again, Manu Ginobili, just such an amazing career. And you just think about the way he played the game, and it was always full throttle. One of my favorite plays, one of the last plays of his career, that playoff series against the Houston Rockets that Houston was favored to win. And late in the game, down one, James Harden taking what could have been the game-winning shot, and Manu Ginobili, in the twilight of his career, able to elevate from behind James Harden. I've got a T-shirt with the image. I wear it sometimes to the show. Manu Ginobili elevating from behind James Harden, darn near 40 years old at the time was Manu, and able to block that shot from behind without fouling James Harden, floating into the air high behind him, blocking the shot. Just one of many Manu Ginobili plays that, to me, Shannon, you talk about Coach Sark and the catchphrase and the mantra, all gas, no brakes. That's how Manu Ginobili played his career, full throttle, all gas, no brakes, and did it till he was in his 40s. It did it with style, did it with passion, did it with authenticity, and connected with so many people along the way. It's just Spurs fans have been so blessed by so many amazing people. David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Greg Popovich. But certainly Manu Ginobili is a guy to celebrate, especially now when he gets this great honor.
Yeah, and you consider the era that he did it in, because we talked about how universally beloved he is by fans, coaches, players, and you think of players now, right? We almost base their personal life, personality based off of not necessarily what they do on the court, but how they interact online, be it with fans or competitors. But during that golden age of the Spurs, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, and I don't even know if Manu himself, he probably doesn't. I wouldn't think he does have any of those things, and yet we still see the personality come through in these moments, and he's still got this great reputation, and obviously his association with the Spurs continues. I'm looking right now, HEB congratulated him with a picture in a Spurs cowboy hat while he's holding a goat, and I don't, that's the cutest thing I've seen all morning. I like me some Manu.
Yeah, Manu was tremendous in those HEB commercials over the years as well. Jeremy Kolok, huge Spurs fan. Your thoughts on the career of Manu Ginobili and this great honor, a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Very well deserved, in my opinion, as far as being a first ballot Hall of Famer. We mentioned his international career, but his NBA career was pretty impressive too. I mean, sixth man of the year. This guy obviously could have started on multiple teams and probably could have recorded more stats than he did, but a key contributor to 4 championships here, and just kind of embodied the city. Just kind of, the city really adopted him, and he adopted the city right back. And I love seeing when Spurs players decide to stay in San Antonio after they retire. I know, Tony Parker goes back to France and Ginobili goes back to Argentina. I'm sure Tim Duncan goes back to the Virgin Islands, but they still live here, at least partially, and some of them full time, which I think is cool. And I think that kind of speaks to the relationship that this city has with the team, because you don't see that in every city. I've lived in some other NBA cities, and you do not see that in every city. I cannot emphasize that enough.
And you mentioned Manu staying in town and actually now working with the Spurs organization. He's been seen at a lot of road games this year, traveling with the team. He was there last night at the home game against the Portland Trail Blazers. They showed him on the big screen and celebrated him, and the crowd went wild. And Shannon, you mentioned the Coach K haters. There were a lot of people over the weekend, and some national NBA analysts, who are, supposedly well-respected people, saying Manu Ginobili did not deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. to me, Shannon, that just showed their absolute ignorance of how this Hall of Fame works. It's not just even if it were just an NBA Hall of Fame, as Jeremy mentions, we think Manu would be deserving. But this Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, it is the game. It's college basketball, it's the NBA, it's the WNBA, and it's the international game. And players and coaches from all of those realms are eligible, and the body of their work is considered. And Manu Ginobili, in addition to the NBA, had just a breakthrough and prolific international career. So I'm stunned by some people. Manu gets this great honor, and there are people that their first move is to try to poo-poo this on Twitter.
Yeah, I would hope that when the actual moment comes of his induction, because it'll flare up these conversations once again, that a lot of those naysayers will have taken a step back and realized, A, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it is the Basketball Hall of Fame, and he, is all over it internationally. And B, that, usually with those honors, we get lots of, greatest hits videos and people discussing why they're, worthy of the honor, and then coaches and former players speaking about them. So hopefully with all of that combined, those naysayers will realize that they are wrong right now in their beliefs.
All right, coming up, we got a lot more show coming at you. And one of our highlights every morning is Shannon's Salty Shakedown. We are moments away from that. We've also got your sports history and sports birthdays. Just after 8 o'clock, we get you ready for the baseball season. Chris Almendares, the president of the Round Rock Express, is going to join us. And throughout the morning, we continue to preview tonight's men's NCAA basketball college championship game from New Orleans between North Carolina and Kansas. We'll talk more NBA. Spurs on the rise. Lakers are free falling. We'll talk more NFL. Gosh, we haven't talked NFL yet this morning. We got to do that because we love football. More football is good football. And Tiger Woods, you talk about this week and what could be just history and just sports must-see TV if Tiger Woods does indeed choose to play in the Masters. And so far, it's looking like that could very well happen. We'll get into all of it coming right up. Don't go anywhere. Jeremy Kolok is your Soundscape Stylist. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. As James Rippey documents, Manu was the Italian League champion and MVP, an NBA All-Star, sixth man of the year, four-time champion, Olympic gold and bronze medalist, and Olympic gold from Argentina. Manu alluded to that in the press conference. You're LeBron James, you're from America, you're expected to win gold medals for your country. Argentina, especially pre-Manu, not so much. So, yeah, that's big, big, big. I'm going to get more ice for my iced tea and more coffee because I should, because I must, because I'm sleep deprived. And because caffeine is the wonder drug that works wonders. Caffeine, because management frowns upon crystal meth. Woo! 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 All right, I'll be back. Good morning, Steve Duraco. You missed an exchange at the top of the hour between Doug McCoy and Beth Settle ganging up on me. That was I could have used you in here, Steve Duraco. You could have had my back, man. Where were you when I needed you? Steve Duraco, the original rock, the original Italian stallion, THE rock, the human element, co-founder of the San Antonio Polar Bear Club. Star at K&D Construction in 1972 YMCA 11-man tackle football. Number 33 for K&D Construction, if I recall.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe. Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors, with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day.
And dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Woo! Woo! Wes Perkins, ladies and gentlemen. We got a comment from Wes Perkins. Wes says, Manu is used to all the detractors. He never cared to be the guy. He just wanted to win. That sacrifice is what's missing in today's NBA. Manu is also number 54 Pichu, I believe. At the time, what's happening?
I told Terry Stenbridge about your request. He said he would likely do it. I gave him my card.
Oh,
So
that's
it's a matter,
fantastic.
It's a matter of him contacting me.
Okay.
So I put him in touch with you.
Thank you so much. How was it?
It was very nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Terry looks the same except his hair is white.
Yeah.
Same face. I
Wow.
recognize him immediately as soon as you walk in.
Tremendous. Did you let him know that you were there
Oh,
season
yes.
number one?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
We talked about several games. Oh, you had a great memory. Because I told him about the Bobby Dandridge
Yeah.
baseline jumper, and he told me that before that play, that the players were told not to let Danbridge go to the baseline.
Wow.
He told me that the coaches, Doug Moe and Bob, or whoever it was,
Yeah.
told the players, don't let Danbridge go to the baseline.
Oh my
So
goodness.
keep him away from that. And so we talked about that. We talked about dancing Harry's wedding.
Yeah.
We talked about the Easter Sunday massacre. I talked about the George Call running into George McGinnis.
Wow.
I told him a couple of scores that I remember. I just one of those things. I was there.
Yeah.
How I used to be able to park right against the arena wall outside and be there for the opening of the doors.
Yeah.
Get to my seat for $5 a game.
Yeah. We used to sit where the Spurs would come park. There was a little bench there by the players' entrance.
Yeah.
And it was before we were old enough to drive. So we would take the bus from the Methodist Hospital. And the bus would not go all the way to the arena. We had to get off blocks away and walk to the arena. But we would sit there as like Rich Jones, Swin Nader and his wife Marlene.
Keep this in mind if he does come on your show. He
Yeah.
told me something very interesting yesterday.
Okay.
He told me the one guy that he remembers that was very kind of gruff, didn't want to give autographs, didn't want to do interviews with Bill Russell.
Okay.
But after the Spurs' first game, who did he interview? Will Chamberlain, and he was very nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, great. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
What you doing? Where you at?
Let's get back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Jeremy Kolok is your Soundscape Stylist. During the break moments ago, David Munoz, the jazz man, 48 years in radio. We had him on the show Friday. He was inducted into the San Antonio Radio Hall of Fame. And David just told me another inductee that he had a conversation with, and we may get him on the show. He mentioned it to him. Terry Stembridge, the original voice of the San Antonio Spurs back in the ABA and into the NBA. Terry Stembridge was there. For those of us who remember Terry Stembridge, an amazing broadcaster. And my goodness, you talk about memories of the beginnings of the Spurs in San Antonio. Terry Stembridge was the play-by-play guy for the Spurs when they were in Dallas as the Dallas Chaparrals. In fact, there's a lot of YouTube broadcasts that Terry did over the years. There's even one of Terry doing the last broadcast in Dallas, the year that they knew they were going to move out of Dallas and move to San Antonio the next season. And in Dallas, it looks like they're in a gym. It was an arena, but it looks like a gym, and looks like there's 40 people in the stands. There's a reason why the Chaparrals left Dallas. They weren't getting a lot of support, and they kind of worked out in San Antonio. Anyway, that was a cool little conversation I just had moments ago off the air. Welcome in, Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. We are moments away from Shannon's Salty Shakedown on this manic Monday. Lots to talk about all morning long. Tonight's national championship game between Kansas and North Carolina. Coming up just after 8 o'clock, baseball opening day will be this week. What a week. Baseball opening day, the Masters, stretch run of the NBA toward the playoffs, national championship game tonight. So talking baseball just after 8 o'clock with Chris Almendarez, the president of the Round Rock Express. That's going to be a lot of fun. So a whole lot coming at you between now and 9 o'clock on the Chris Duel Show. So let's get it going right now before the Salty Shakedown. How about some sports birthdays and this day in sports history? April 4th, 1937, the fourth Augusta National Invitation Tournament, also now known as the Masters. Your winner was Byron Nelson. It was the first of his 5 majors. He won what is now the Masters by 2 strokes over Ralph Goodall. On this day in 1974, Hank Aaron ties Babe Ruth's home run record, hitting his 714th career home run. He did it in Cincinnati off of pitcher Jack Billingham, which put him 1 away from the record that he would achieve days later in Atlanta. And those of you who either remember or know your history, Hank Aaron faced so many horrible racist threats as he closed in on Babe Ruth's record. A time that should have been just great joy. A bunch of idiots out there made it more difficult for Hank Aaron. On this day in 1983, the 45th NCAA Men's Championship game, it was memorable as North Carolina State beats Houston 54-52. The Wolfpack wins on a buzzer-beating dunk by Lorenzo Charles off a desperation 30-foot shot by Derek Wittenberg. Jim Valvano was the coach of the Wolfpack and went on to celebrate and become a legend. And, of course, now he passed away way too early. The Jimmy V Foundation, such a big deal now to raise funds to beat cancer. This day in 1988, the 50th annual Men's Basketball Championship, Kansas beat Oklahoma on this day in 1988, 83-79. Jayhawks power forward Danny Manning was named the tournament most outstanding player. So you say, hey, this is a lucky day for Kansas. Maybe that'll help them tonight. Well, on this day in 2005, the 67th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, North Carolina beat Illinois 75-70. It was the Tar Heels' fourth national championship game. So both teams tonight have won the national championship already on this day in history. That's your sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1924, Baseball Hall of Famer Gil Hodges, first baseman, 8-time Major League Baseball All-Star with the Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn Dodgers. What am I saying? Brooklyn Dodgers, LA Dodgers, New York Mets. Maybe that's what I was going for. World Series in 1955, 59, and 69. Gold Glove winner 57, 58, and 59. He was the manager of the Washington Senators and the New York Mets. He is referenced in my favorite movie ever, Field of Dreams. Gil Hodges was born in Princeton, Indiana. He passed away in 1972. Born on this day in 1958, Texas Longhorn, graduate of Lampasas High School, went on to Olympic gold in the 4x100 meter relay in 1976, played wide receiver for the New York Jets. Johnny Lamb Jones. Johnny Lamb Jones was actually on the Cowboys roster during the strike-shortened season in 1987, but never actually played for the Dallas Cowboys. Johnny Lamb Jones passed away in Round Rock, Texas in 2019. Finally, born on this day in 1963, former NFL player, one-time Dallas Cowboy, and NFL coach Jack Del Rio. USC Trojan, by the way. Jack Del Rio, born in Castro Valley, California. Those are your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, farm animals, pole assassins, and monkeys, here it is, your Manic Monday Salty Shakedown.
Chris, it's one of those days where I've compiled stories and I look at them all together and I realize I have a theme. And James Allen, if you're listening, you know this theme well. It's that I'm cheap. So here we go.
Uh-oh.
Story number one on the day. It is April, which means spring games are popping up every weekend around the country for collegiate football programs. And I found it really interesting. You know, Twitter is great about suggesting topics that I might be interested in. One of them I saw over the weekend were some Texas and OU fans kind of going back and forth about spring game. An OU fan joked that DKR would be empty if Texas charged for spring games because, as we know, the Texas spring game and all the activities that come with it is free entry into the stadium. And the Texas fan, I think, rightfully responded, well, thankfully, Texas doesn't need to charge for its spring game. Chris, I thought all spring games around the country were free, but it turns out the Oklahoma Sooners don't make enough money, and they charge their fans to get into what is essentially a practice that is just on display for the masses. If you are already a season ticket holder of the Sooners, you are paying $10 a ticket to get into the spring game. If you are a general fan, general admission, will cost you $15. And if you want to be a bougie General fan, meaning you get access to the club or lounge areas, it's going to cost you $25 to see the Sooners practice in late spring. Now, Chris, like I said, I was not aware that there are schools that charge for spring games. Am I out of the loop? And should the Sooners, who I guess are poor and need to charge for this kind of thing, not to mention Baker Mayfield will be in attendance on the April 23rd spring game that kicks off at 3 o'clock. There you go. Thank you for that. There'll be a statue unveiling for him as he is a Heisman winner for that program. Is Baker worth the price of admission? Because other than that, again, it's just a practice.
Shannon, in the words of the great Allen Iverson, practice. We talking about practice. It's a practice. You don't charge money for the practice. And then Baker Mayfield's getting a statue. I've been talking, where's my Tim Duncan statue in San Antonio? Where's the Manu statue? David Robinson, George Gervin. Baker Mayfield has a statue. That's a little depressing to me, Shannon.
Yeah, and like now that I'm thinking about it, the statues are typically they're either just kind of a normal straight just standing pose, or sometimes they do something based off of a play or a moment or a picture that lives on in infamy for that player. And I kind of am imagining almost like the Marine Corps War Memorial statue, right, where the men are lifting the flag of the United States, and that Oklahoma flag plant at Ohio State comes to mind with Baker Mayfield. You wonder if maybe they'll go that route. I don't like the idea personally. I'm not a fan of him getting a statue to begin with because he is a Sooner, but that's what's happening, and have fun paying to go see a practice, Sooner fans. All right, story number 2 today. Sports cameos. As we know, March Madness makes stars, sir. And this is the first era of March Madness in which players can cash in, whether it be with new NIL deals or just joining Cameo, which is the website that celebrities or people who think that they're celebrities put themselves up and charge a price that they set for a cameo. They can be for personal or business use, and a cameo is basically a video of a certain length, and the person who pays for it says, this is what I want said in the video. A lot of people do birthday shout-outs, weddings, this, that, and the other. Well, St. Peter's standout Doug Eater, he's the one with the mustache. A couple weeks ago, he signed an NIL deal with Buffalo Wild Wings. But, sir, he has joined Cameo over the weekend, and he's charging $100 a video. Sir, I did some research, and most college athletes that are, I would say, at Doug's level as far as who they are, charge $15 to $35. And then when you get into the pros, obviously a Mike Leach, he's charging $150, which I think is a great price. He does some great videos because he just rambles on because he gets lost in the conversation he's essentially having with himself in a video camera. Brett Favre is going to run you $400. Hugh Jackson, whose title right now in Cameo is former head coach of the Browns, is charging just $70. Dennis Rodman, he'll cost you $1,000. LeVar Ball's got a weird number at $133, and Reese Davis, yes, broadcasters can do it too, charging $119. Chris, again, this is for celebrities, people who think they're celebrities, and athletes who think that I guess they're better than others, to set their own rate. I checked for you. Roger Staubach, not available. Is there another athlete that you could think of that you'd be willing to pay Doug Eater money, $100, to receive a 30-second video message? And what would you want that video to say? Would you want it to be like a voicemail thing, right? So you grab that audio and then have it be your voicemail from now until forever? Because I don't know. There's some people that I'm like, okay, I could pay them for something. But then you look at the price tags on some people, like a Doug Eater, $100. You think, nah, never mind.
Well, as you know, I love me some Roger Staubach. I'm sad that Roger's not on there.
He doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it. But any Dallas Cowboys, great. I've always said, if you put on the star on your helmet, you're very, very special to me. Any Spur, great. I would love. Trying to think of anybody specific. Maybe Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith would be cool. Everybody loves Troy Aikman. He would be cool. But it makes me wonder, Shannon, moving out of sports for a moment, celebrities do cameos. Is Justin Timberlake? I think we might have to pitch in and get you a Justin Timberlake cameo.
He is not on
that could
Cameo
be a
either.
good thing.
A lot of the
Damn
bigger
it.
names not on Cameo, and I get from like
That's beneath them.
some of the bigger names that are on Cameo, I feel like they find it to be a really great way to interact with fans, and yes, they also get paid on top of it. But it's a pretty interesting concept. But if you're able to make a buck from it, I guess why not? Why not jump on Cameo? If you wanted a Dallas Cowboys star, you got Terrell Owens to choose from. He's currently charging $250. Johnny Manziel also in that $250 range. Antonio Brown, he's going to cost you $400 though. If you want that guy to do one for you.
Who's forking over $400 for an Antonio Brown cameo?
Probably people who spend money like Antonio Brown, without a care, without a care.
Yep.
An interesting site, Cameo. Check it out if you haven't. Maybe you'll find something or someone who's worthy of the money to get a video from. All right, finally today we've got Eric Church news. As we know, he was supposed to play at the AT&T Center in San Antonio on Saturday. He canceled that show, not rescheduled, canceled, so he could go watch UNC play Duke. And ultimately, obviously, UNC got the win, so it was worth his time. But prior to that game, he did announce via his Instagram, he said, "Thank you, San Antonio, for letting me take my family to this game. I took a minute to figure out how and when I could properly express my thanks. I will be coming to Whitewater Amphitheater in New Braunfels, Texas on Friday, September 2nd, 2022 for a one-of-a-kind free show for those of you who bought tickets and were planning to attend our canceled San Antonio show. Details to be announced soon." Chris, I still have problems with this because number one, they are offering refunds if you don't want to go to the show. Number two, September 2nd, that is Labor Day weekend, which means people are probably getting off work early on Friday, and they're getting Monday off as well, which means I may want to go on like a little staycation. I may want to go do something. I may want to go somewhere because I've got that extra day. Now I'm stuck at home for my refunded concert. My biggest issue with all of this is there's a huge difference between AT&T Center and Whitewater Amphitheater in New Braunfels. Whitewater is a great venue. But it is a small venue, and it is 50 minutes away from AT&T Center. So those that live in San Antonio are going to now have to make the trek to New Braunfels. And capacity difference. I don't know how everyone who bought a ticket for this is going to get into this now free show, because 19,000 people can fit into a concert at AT&T Center. Whitewater Amphitheater's max capacity, 5,600. I think we still have some issues on hand. I know we're coming up against it, so I'll go ahead and end it here. That's today's Salty Shakedown.
Outstanding Salty Shakedown as always. And Shannon, just say no to Eric Church. First thing that hit me, and you said it, New Braunfels ain't San Antonio. And it's 50 minutes away from downtown San Antonio. No. Eric, no, we're not. This does not make us feel better. I hope Eric Church fans or former fans don't buy into this crap. Sorry.
I don't
go Kansas. By the way,
I don't know who his team is, and the idea of like, it took us some time to think of this. No, it didn't. You saw the backlash, and you're like, well, what can we do? I'm like, you couldn't reschedule with AT&T Center. You couldn't. I don't think that's true.
You're dead to us, Eric Church. I'm just saying. Coming up, Chris Almendarez, president of the Round Rock Express. Let's talk some baseball. If you build it, he will come. Baseball season opening this week. Big 9 o'clock hour coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk more national championship game, and we're going to get into the National Football League on the Chris Duel Show. Frank Valdez, I like your idea. Taro Kotani doing cameos. He's become a celebrity among Spurs fans. That's a good idea. All right. Let me see here. Last time I went to get coffee, I forgot to get ice for my ice. See, my iced tea is without ice, so I need ice for that. So I'm going to go do that and get more coffee. If you're just tuning in, going John Lennon. this morning because it was the first thing I could grab in my sleep-deprived stupor this morning. All right. I'll try not to forget the ice this time. Back in a sec.
Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/pro loyalty terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing the wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
No, wow, that is an amazing piece of information.
Yep.
Never knew that.
All that stuff I found out yesterday.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, I hope to get them somewhere. I'll try to find it. I used to record my shows on mini discs, but like for the full hour, I had Terry. This was like 2005 maybe. So I think they were in the playoffs against Detroit. I had Terry on the phone from Dallas, and I had Kobe Dietrich and Gary DeLon in studio. And for the hour, we talked Spurs history.
And speaking of that series, I still think my brother-in-law's ex-wife for causing an argument.
Yeah.
Which made him, who was a season ticket holder, give my wife and me the tickets to Game 7.
Oh my! How do you give up tickets to Game 7 ever?
Because they were having arguments.
Oh my God!
So I still thank her to this day.
Absolutely. Wow. That is amazing.
But that story that Terry told me, that he's the one that made the phone call.
That is
Had he
amazing.
not made that call, it may never have happened. We don't know.
You're
We'll
right.
never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Good stuff, man. It was a nice
Yeah.
conversation.
I mentioned on the radio, there's a YouTube of Terry doing the last Dallas Chaparrals game. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's on TV,
Yeah.
and it looks like a gym. It looks like a high school gym. I'm sure it's not, but there looks like 40 people in the stands. It is echoey. It is empty. So I mean, you clearly understand why they had to leave.
Now, before you go back on, first time I saw a professional basketball game at the Emmitsburg Arena,
Houston Rockets.
yes, it was. So I did tell you that story. Okay.
No. Yeah, I remember they came with Calvin Murphy
They
before.
came with, they played 6 of their home games here.
Yeah.
The first game of that season was 1972 against the Lakers.
Wow.
And,
Oh, that was a great Laker team
it
with
was a great Lakers because they just won the championship.
yeah. Wilt,
Look,
Gail
look,
Goodrich, Jerry
look,
West.
right,
My
right,
God.
those guys. And I bought my ticket up in the blue seats in the high,
Yeah.
$3, and there were a lot of Laker fans there, including myself.
Yeah.
Lakers win 112 to 107, 10,146.
What capacity?
Yes.
Wow.
It was great. After that, of course, the other games that they played were not nearly as
Yeah.
full, but it was the Lakers. That they-
See, and people don't think about it when they made that decision to bring the Chaparrals.
Yeah.
They had that data. They said, "Look at this,
Right.
10-146 for the Lakers."
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
But
is-
Terry was just as gracious as always, and I hope he'll contact me.
Yeah, please. Yeah, that would be so cool. Thank you for making the ask.
Absolutely.
Congratulations again. Yeah, go ahead. Do it again. We're fine. And you'll probably have him on the line at the time. We'll go right to him. Okay. Cool. Let me see. All right, we've got Chris Almendares about to join us. He is the president of the Round Rock Express. Thank you, sir. Here we go. 8 o'clock hour. Just heard I'll pass it along a little later, a great story. Hello, Fred Robert Casares Jr. David Munoz telling me Terry Stembridge was the guy who made the call to Red McCombs
This
from Dallas,
is the Chris Duel Show.
seeing if they might be interested in bringing the Spurs to San Antonio, the Chaparrals at the time, pre-Spurs. Here we go.
Now, Chris Duel.
That's method. It's just another manic Monday.
It's not just another Manic Monday. It is a Manic Monday that's going to feature the national championship game of men's college basketball tonight, North Carolina versus Kansas. And what a week it is in sports, not only the Masters getting underway in Augusta, Georgia, which might just feature Tiger Woods, which will be must-see TV and a huge sports story, but baseball gets underway this week. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. And while Major League Baseball will get underway, their opening day is Thursday. Opening day for the Round Rock Express is tomorrow, Tuesday, April 5th, tomorrow night at 7:05. It'll be a very special night and a very special fundraiser tomorrow night for the Round Rock Express on their opener. Let's talk baseball with Chris Almendares. He is the president of the Round Rock Express. Good morning, Chris. Are you ready for baseball?
Good morning, guys, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
And we're excited too. Gosh, baseball with the lockout, there was so many questions about, would we have baseball? Thank goodness baseball is here. And not only, Chris, is opening night always special, but you guys are doing something very, very special for the Round Rock community tomorrow night as well.
Chris, one of the great things about Dell Diamond is we tell our staff all the time, it's not just about baseball. And when things happen in the community, we're able to flip on a switch and just kind of go that way. And, unfortunately, we had the tornadoes a couple of weeks ago. I was actually in spring training in Surprise when that storm came through. But Chief Banks, Mayor Morgan called and reached out, and Dell Diamond became kind of the command center and the hub for folks to get things done with the tornado relief. And then, our ticketing staff, our group, our Stu Scally, our assistant GM, we decided to come up with we've got the Round Rock Strong Code that's going to give money back, part of the proceeds from opening day, ticket sales back to folks coming out tomorrow night.
Well, and Chris, you always, I see you tweet all the time, #baseballfamily. And I know that hashtag encompasses the Round Rock community and the surrounding areas. You mentioned the proceeds for ticket sales for opening day tomorrow will go into helping those in the area. If people already have purchased their tickets or season tickets, how are they able to go and make sure that part of their proceeds are donated as well?
There's actually Shannon, that's a great point. There's actually a spot on our website. If they go to our ticketing, they can actually click and just make a donation to the Round Rock Cares Foundation. And that was a foundation that started up, with COVID. Mayor Morgan, Al Maxwell, some of the community leaders were involved in that, and we were able to help out back then. And I think that's the neat thing about, the Round Rock community and just Central Texas is, when things happen, of course, 6 years ago when I lost my late wife, the hashtag Team Jana kind of took off, and, folks just jump in and whatever the cause is going on at the time, we want to make sure that we're a part of it. And look, what we've gone through the last couple of years with COVID and losing our season in 20, and then of course last year, just kind of the shortened season, we're so excited to kind of get back out. And not only are we starting tomorrow night, but it's going to, Major League Baseball has extended the AAA, the minor league season to the end of September. So now we've got an opportunity, almost an extra month of baseball. If things come up, we want to be involved with that. We always talk about Dell Diamond not only being, there for the Round Rock Express to play, but what else can we do in the community? And that's part of our mission statement, is just helping Central Texas. And look, the folks of Central Texas have always helped us out, and it's our chance to kind of give back as well.
He is Chris Almendares, the president of the Round Rock Express. And Chris, I didn't realize until you just said that, in the aftermath of the tornado, that Dell Diamond was, in effect, a command center and a hub for relief. How amazing, that this baseball facility, which brings such joy and entertainment to so many people in the area for Round Rock Express baseball, becomes, the place where so much was done for good at a time when so many people needed help. I mean, we've always known that the Round Rock Express was such a big part of the community, but when the going got tough, that certainly was illustrated by what took place and continues to take place at Dell Diamond.
Well, that's the thing we always want to do, is we always want to raise our hand when there are things that we can help out with. And, we tell folks that, no matter what's going on, the amount of people we run through Dell Diamond during the baseball season, or even, before the season or after the season, we've got events that are going through. And so, look, every time somebody walks in Dell Diamond, it might be their first time. And not only what a great experience when there's a baseball going on, but what other experiences are made, or what are the things that happen on that field. Tomorrow night when we open before we throw out the first pitch, we have our memorial first pitch, which is a ball that actually gets thrown around the horn and then gets thrown outside of the stadium. And it's for us to remember the folks that were lost between seasons, Round Rock Express seasons. And it's always special. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to kind of start writing some initials of some folks that we've lost, season ticket holders or family members. And, it's special. I got the ball on my desk. I've kind of put some initials on it, and I'll walk it to the manager, and the manager will throw it to the pitcher. He'll throw it to the catcher. We'll go around the horn, and the left fielder will throw it outside of Dell Diamond. It's a very moving moment, but also allows me to kind of remind me of the things we've gone through and the things that have happened at Dell Diamond. So special night for tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. We've got a big crowd. The first thing I do on days like this is look at our attendance, our advance, and we're way over 6,000 right now. So it could be a huge night for us.
Chris, I remember being at Dell Diamond last year on opening day, of course, following the no COVID season. And anytime I go to the Dell Diamond on opening day, there's always, you can feel it in the air, right? There's just something about baseball opening day, and obviously at that great facility. But being there on that day last year, after what everyone had been through in 2020, things we were still experiencing. I mean, it almost brought tears to my eyes standing there listening to the national anthem and then, watching the game get underway. I can't wait to have that moment again tomorrow. Y'all do such a great job. As you say, it's not just about the game. There's so many experiences to get at Dell Diamond. Y'all do great promotions. I know y'all have some things going on tomorrow specifically for opening day. So talk to us about those and what people might look forward to promotionally for the rest of the season.
Well, the great thing about tomorrow night, of course, is opening day, and I think it's going to be very special because, like you said, what we went through the last couple of years, and really this is the first season that almost feels back to normal. And so we'll have Bud Light. They'll sponsor the fireworks tomorrow night after the game, so that's going to be always a fun deal. Now that AAA baseball, we're taking Mondays as our off days. The staple dollar hot dog day moves to Wednesday, so Wednesday's the day to get the word out to tell people, hey, that's our dollar hot dog night. So we basically won't play any games on Mondays throughout the season, and Wednesday becomes that dollar hot dog day. Of course, all Thursdays this year, we've got pints and pups, and so it's always so neat to see the folks that in the berm bringing their dogs out. So every Thursday this year, people can bring their dogs to Dell Diamond. Of course, Friday fireworks again with Bud Light, and we also have the Nile Maxwell free baseball caps. That's going to be a fun event. And then Saturday's 90s night. So Salty, you got to come out and wear your best, fluorescent pink and crazy colors. And we got a post-game concert with Zoo Dust. And so that's always fun. But our staff is amazing. Laura Fregosa, who leads our marketing department, she's senior vice president of marketing. Just always comes up with great ideas. Her staff, they're the best in the business, and we let them go and have these ideas. And, the neat thing is they're always very intentional on the things that we're doing to get folks in the Dell Diamond. But the other thing is when tragedies or things happen, that they're the first to say, look, I think we need to do this. Matter of fact, I was telling you guys earlier, I was in spring training when the tornadoes came through, and we knew it was coming towards Dell Diamond. It was coming towards Kalahari. I think I got about 75 texts that afternoon. And I almost felt bad the fact that I wasn't there. I was in surprise, but knowing my staff was there, working with the chief of police and working with folks, and of course our marketing folks saying, look, how can we work with the group, and with the first time we open our doors, we're going to have a fundraiser to help these folks that have been just I drove the other day through the neighborhoods, and it's still really bad of how these houses were just demolished.
It's so sad, and it's so wonderful that people are coming together at Dell Diamond tomorrow night and helping out the Round Rock Cares Foundation to help those people who need the help at this point. We're talking with CHRIS ALMENDAREZ, the president of the Round Rock Express. Chris, you mentioned it earlier. Last year, the coming off the COVID shutdown, it was an abbreviated season, as you mentioned, now extending into September, things getting somewhat back to normalcy. You as a longtime baseball guy, I'm sure it's got to feel good for you and your staff as you embark upon this season tomorrow night. How does it feel to have the opportunity to really have baseball back even bigger than it was last year?
Chris, I appreciate you asking that. One of the things that I do every opening day, someday tomorrow during the game, I'm going to get the opportunity, before the game starts, I'm going to get the opportunity to walk around the stadium to do kind of a final stadium walk. And, it's a stadium walk for me to look at kind of, if there's anything that we miss before we open the gates. But the other thing, it's also a time to reflect. I kind of call it just an opportunity to just, a grateful walk, a gratitude walk, just to walk the stadium and, think of the things that I've gone through in my life, and more importantly, the folks and the memories we can make for people that come out to Dell Diamond and what this game of baseball means. You guys know the story. I got a 25-year-old son, Chase. He's the head baseball coach at Houston Tilton University here in Austin, and then my younger son Luke is 20, who's at the University of Houston on a baseball scholarship. Luke's hurt for the first time, and he's been out. It's the first time in 20 years that I'm not chasing kids around the baseball field. So I really have been able to really focus in and go, look, what do we got to do to make sure when gates open tomorrow night that it's the best of the best. And that's always the standard that the Ryans and Reed Ryan wants at Dell Diamond. And that's the thing that I think we've got most things buttoned up. I've got a couple of meetings this morning, and then we'll do that gratitude walk and just think about how grateful I am about this game of baseball. And, look, to be able to work in a job like that you're very passionate about, it helps always trying to figure out how do we raise the bar? How do we do things better? And tomorrow night at 7:05, we're going to play baseball, and we're going to enjoy, 3 hours of fun and games and just get people's minds off of what's going on in the world.
Well, Chris, let's talk a little bit more about baseball. What's going to be taking place on the field? Of course, Round Rock Express, the AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers, and y'all have a new manager this year in Matt Hagen. Talk to us about him, what he'll bring to the team, and the roster that we'll be seeing out there this year.
Matt's a baseball guy. He played college at Liberty University and then was in the Seattle Mariners organization. But he's one of those guys that we call a grinder. That's just kind of made his way up in the minor league ball and in different coaching spots. And so I've known Matt a couple of years now. He's been with the organization. I think this is his 7th year with the organization. But look, Matt's going to be one of those guys that the product you see on the field is going to be a reflection of him. They're going to play hard. They're going to do the right things. They're going to play the game the way that's supposed to be played. And so, with the moves that the Rangers made this offseason, Cole with Corey Seager, Simeon, and some of these folks, John Gray, I think when you get that kind of talent level, it kind of starts, pushing back down through the minor league system. I was there, media day was on Saturday, and the kids arrived, and, I saw Josh Smith, who's a shortstop for us, who, Josh was a kid that played at LSU. You played at LSU, you're a really good baseball player. And then, the Cole Wins and the Sam Huffs and some of these kids that are going to play for us. It's exciting. I just got a text late last night that, there's a chance that Matt Carpenter is going to come play for us. That's a St. Louis Cardinals all-star second baseman that's going to play at Dell Diamond and trying to get some at-bats in to work his way up to the Texas Rangers. And that's what we tell those kids. We met with the team on Saturday when they broke camp. And, the thing we tell them is, look, we're going to give you guys the best experience we can, when you get here to Round Rock. And we know the ultimate goal for you is to play at Globe Life and be a Texas Ranger. So we like to call ourselves the Baby Rangers, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything at Dell Diamond to give them the opportunity to play their game and to sharpen their trade and get to the big leagues.
The Baby Rangers. I love it. CHRIS ALMENDAREZ, president of the Round Rock Express. And Chris, as you discuss, the affiliation with the Texas Rangers, and now this season, expectations rising for the Texas Rangers. You guys at the Round Rock Express have experience, recently, not long ago, as an affiliate with the Houston Astros, as the Astros ascended and became very, very good and became World Series champions. Does that affect, you guys and the fan base and how things are done and how, fans come out to the Round Rock Express when the Rangers are becoming even better than they've been before? Does that trickle to you guys and the baby Rangers on the field and in the stands?
I think it does, Chris. Somebody asked me the other day, do you think there's more Ranger fans or more Astro fans? I think we're 50-50, but I think when we get to when Round Rock Express, whoever we affiliate with, I think we lean that way, or the community leans that way. But, we were fortunate to come, we started our way back when in 2000 as the Astros for the first 10 years, and then we went to the Rangers. And typically, affiliations were 2 years or 4 years. And now with Major League Baseball coming in 2 years ago and changing the whole scheme of things and basically have taken over the whole minor league baseball season, now it's these 10-year affiliations. And so, this is year 9 of 10 for us with the Texas Rangers. And we had a great run with the Astros. We actually had a 4-year agreement with them when Major League Baseball came in and basically changed. They wanted to get more geographically aligned with the Major League team. And they felt Sugar Land was right there by the Astros and decided to pull them that way. And, thank goodness our relationship with the Rangers was really good with John Daniels and Mike Daly at the time. And so we went back to the Rangers. And look, it's exciting. I think the fact now that you get a 10-year affiliation with the team, we know for the next 10 years who we're going to be with. And we also know the moves they make at the top are going to open up spots and it's going to push some of the talent that down to the AAA level. So look, couldn't be more excited about it. I'm excited to get out there tomorrow to get the gates open and start learning these kids. And they had a quick workout on Saturday and they did a quick BP last night. I think the team's going to work out this afternoon. So as we start going, I'll get a chance to kind of start learning these kids and it's fun. I think one of the best parts of my job is days when we know these kids are going to get called up to the big leagues. And I'm not the guy that makes the decision, but I'm the guy that gets an email. And so on those days, I try to make sure I'm back in the clubhouse after the game when Hagen makes those moves and lets those kids know, because it's probably one of the biggest joys of my job of watching those kids get the call to say, hey, you're going to the big leagues. And it's always fun. That's what every kid dreams of, and to make it to the big leagues. And we're right at that spot to get folks to be able to do that.
That is so cool. That must just be such a great moment to be a part of and to experience. Finally, Chris, you mentioned tomorrow, opening day, opening night at Dell Diamond. And again, a big night, not only, as you mentioned, the memorial first pitch, but everything associated with opening night, the fireworks, and of course, the big raising funds for tornado relief in Round Rock as well. You mentioned, Chris, tickets going fast for this. If somebody hasn't gotten tickets yet, what are the prospects for walk-up ticket purchases, or at this point, one night away, one day and a night away, what's the best way to get tickets for tomorrow night?
I would encourage everybody to go online to roundrockexpress.com and then just go to our, click on tickets, and then you'll have a drop down of the games that they want to come to for tomorrow night. There'll be a spot where they can do that. They can put the Round Rock Strong code in that will give back to the proceeds of the tornado relief. And then look, we've always got tickets on hand for walk-up. So we're expecting a big walk-up, especially, I think we might have some weather in the morning, but it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow at 7:05. And, we're going to put the tarp on and be ready to go. And it's always great.
Chris, we love that baseball is back. You are such a great ambassador for the game and certainly for the Round Rock Express. I love talking baseball with you. I hope we can do it again real soon. Congratulations on embarking upon a new season. Best of luck tomorrow night, and let's talk again soon.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me. Always welcome out here. You guys, Chris and Salty, thanks for the time, and we'll see you at Dell Diamond.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Chris Almendares, the president of the Round Rock Express. And Shannon, you just listen to him. He just oozes passion for baseball. And as I hear him talk about the memorial first pitch, I hear him talk about the gratitude walk that he does around the stadium before they open the doors for opening nights, and then talking about his sons. that are in the game. I mean, this guy, Chris Almendarez, baseball is in his blood. I mean, it's great to have, you know, a great man or a woman running an organization, but when they have whatever it is, in this case, baseball, in their blood and in their life and their lifers, that's just way cool. I just love talking to that guy.
Yeah, I've gotten to spend a lot of time with Chris, his sons, a lot of people who work in that organization. He mentioned that awesome marketing team, but you know, they are. I think we were talking about Manu Ginobili earlier. Like it's not just about what they do on the field. They're just easy people to root for and to be proud to be associated with them. Of course, all those Round Rock Express games will be right here, AM 1300 The Zone, so you can catch those. Mike Capps, of course, the legendary broadcaster on the call. Cappy has been with them for a very long time. I know he always calls opening day his Christmas morning, so I know he's excited to get out there as well.
And as we celebrate the Round Rock Express up in the Austin area, of course, Major League Baseball getting underway with the San Antonio Missions in the San Antonio area. We will certainly keep an eye on them and celebrate them as well. And final thing I want to mention that we didn't come up in our conversation with Chris, the game tomorrow night against the El Paso Chihuahuas. One of my favorite names in Major League Baseball, Shannon, one of my favorite logos. I just like the idea. I like the name El Paso Chihuahuas. When they came up with that name, I think it took a little bit of courage and a little bit of a sense of humor. I dig me. I got to get a shirt or a jersey someday for the El Paso Chihuahuas.
Well, and you know, he mentioned, you know, how the realignment, you know, they decided that they were better suited for the Texas Rangers, and so Houston got what were, I forget what they're formally called, but now they're the Space Cowboys. So
the Hooks, the Corpus Christi Hooks. Yeah.
No,
I think it was the Sugarland.
Yeah, Sugarland. They were the Skeeters, right?
That's right.
Now they're the
Skeeters.
Space Cowboys, and I'm
Thank
like,
you.
that is pretty. That is
a great
that
name.
is excellent. I can't wait for them to come to town because I need to check that out.
Yes. And occasionally the missions become the Flying Chanclas.
That's
which
the
I love
best,
that name,
hands
too.
down.
Very, very cool.
Hands down, the
Flying
best.
Chanclas. And of course, Mike Taylor takes credit for that name. He was
As he should.
touting Flying Chanclas. Yeah, long
he should.
before it
We'll
became
back that up.
a thing. By the way, Mike Taylor doing a fan night next time he comes into town. Check in with Thunderdome. It's May something. Mike comes back and they're going to do a Thunderdome night at the San Antonio Missions / Flying Chanclas game. Coming up, lots more to cover. Let's dive all into our final thoughts on tonight's NCAA Men's Championship game between Kansas and North Carolina. We'll see who you say will win that game. Got to get into Hope Solo, American soccer goalkeeper, formerly Hope Solo, in the news again. And our good buddy Daniel Snyder in hot water again with the Washington Commanders. When are they going to kick this dude out of the National Football League? We will get into that and a whole lot more. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney, Jeremy Kolok, your Soundscape Stylist, with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show.
Look at me, I can be Sandia.
Let's see. Jason Paniagua saying it is June. Absolutely. It is June for the Mike Taylor Thunderdome night. See, that's why I have you here, Jason. You act as producer and fact checker for me. I appreciate that. All right. One more segment. Woo! Woo! Good morning, Fred. Very nice of you. Say hello to everybody this morning. Let's see. I am going to get on ice. Got to make sure I have all of my supplies for the final segment.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. No matter how big or small your business is. Earn back when you spend, get exclusive offers. And
Woo!
it all adds up to help level up.
Woo!
Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program today. Minimum purchase required. Earnings and pay rewards awarded as Lowe's and gift cards. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid for 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
Jake from State Farm here. Some other car insurance companies are increasing their rates in your state. But don't worry, your bill's gone up. Switch to State Farm for surprising trade rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or visit statefarm.com for a quote today.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
All right. Here we come. Woo! Final half hour.
Back to the Chris Duel Show with
You can shake an apple off an apple tree. Shake a sugar.
Little Elvis for you. Jeremy Kolok, we discovered a couple of weeks ago, is a huge Elvis fan, which raises him infinite points in my book. I love the King. Welcome in. Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Shannon, we get ready for the national championship game. Before we're done here, we'll get our thoughts on that. We'll go around the horn, make our picks. We'll see what our listeners and viewers have to say about that. But let's catch up on some of the sports stories we have yet to address this morning. One of which, Hope Solo. Good old Hope Solo, former goalkeeper for Team USA Women's Soccer, has not made the greatest headlines since her departure, and even when she was still with Team USA. But she was Hope Solo back in the news over the weekend. What's the latest with Hope?
I was gonna say, has she ever been in a headline where you're like, I mean, because there's been some weird stuff going on, but the latest is that I guess she was found to be passed out in her car with her children in tow. She would not take a sobriety field test, and for this, she kind of resisted. She was arrested for child endangerment because it was their belief that she was under the influence, and therefore that is why she was passed out in the vehicle. I think she's released a statement as to why she's a good parent. I didn't even bother to read it. I'm pretty over Hope Solo. She tends to make the news for all the wrong things. But the last time she was in the news, interestingly, was when she ran to be like president of like U.S. women's soccer. And previous headlines and current headlines, I think, are the reasons as to why that did not happen, among maybe some other things. But not good, Hope. Not good.
Yeah, there was that one story where somebody, like a cousin or a nephew, it was like a guy in her family, she was like getting into a fight with and was like beating his head against the pavement of the garage. I mean, she just had, well, it's so amazing. She was such a great player and such a great, goalkeeper, and Team USA on top of the world. Yeah. Great name, Hope Solo. Oh, my gosh, that's straight out of Central Casting. Great look. I mean, Megan Rapinoe, all those soccer players who went on to be stars, and Hope Solo was a star. But I mean, if Hope Solo would have just behaved a little better and continued to behave, she could be on top of the world. She could be the president if none of all this happened and continues to happen. She could be the president of USA Women's Soccer. She should be like a national media presence and a commentator on men's and women's soccer. It's really kind of sad. Obviously, when somebody acts out with, it's like a Johnny Manziel with problem after problem after problem. You wonder, and there's probably some underlying causes for it. It's we roll our eyes, and some people will joke about it, but there's something going on with her, and it's really kind of sad. And in this case, Shannon, as you mentioned, when you're endangering kids, in this case her kids, and you're passed out in your vehicle with your kids in the vehicle, that's dangerous and sad. Yeah. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I remember when she was on Dancing with the Stars, she was still part of the national team at the time, but it was almost like it was done to kind of change the perspective about her, right? Because for anyone who's seen Dancing with the Stars, before they dance, they have these little packages and they're very personal. And this is why I've chosen this song, and this is why it's so emotional and things of that nature. But they pair her with the most polarizing professional dancer on that show in Max, and the two of them together, not good. And so all of the stories that just ended up coming from that were like the arguments they had, the backlight, like the whole thing was just, it did not go as planned. So yeah, instead of being part of, Fox Sports and all of their soccer coverage, especially during, the World Cup, she's kind of on the sidelines doing it via her Twitter and any other outlet that she can get her hands on.
I hope she gets it together. Don't want to see her crash and burn, but it's headed in that direction. Speaking of crashing and burning, when, Shannon, is the NFL, and I've heard some people say this may be the final straw, because when you're taking money from the NFL itself and other owners,
Correct.
to me, I think that's one of the reasons Colin Kaepernick is blacklisted. When you take money away from billionaires, or at least when they think you've cost them money, they can get pretty vindictive. What is the latest on our good buddy Daniel Snyder and his football team, the Washington Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to say that this may be the final straw because of everything else that we've heard that's gone on within the Commanders, formerly the Redskins organization. But as you say, this one involves money, and money directly associated to other owners of the NFL who have been pretty quiet on Dan Snyder and the things that have gone on there until maybe this moment in which it's been revealed that the organization was withholding funds and money that should have gone to visiting teams. Sales that should have been given to, so now he's messing with the owners' monies. I'm sure the owners' previous stories that have come out, whether it's the cheerleaders and ongoings on private jets, whatever, they're thinking, well, that's just messing with that team's money. That's just turning away fans from that organization and possibly sending them our way. So we won't raise too much of a fuss. But now that they're realizing that he has withheld and purposely done so money from their pockets and for who knows how long, that changes. I think that's going to change the tune of a lot of owners in the NFL and ultimately lead to his official removal, because right now, it's his wife or whatever that's running that organization, except no, she's not really. She's just the face.
Yeah. Let us hope. I mean, it would be good for the league. He's a bad dude. And I know NFL owners close ranks, and I think the reason they do it is they think, well, if we set the precedent of blowing one of us out, then maybe I could be blown out one day. Robert Kraft had the massage issues. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, lots of issues in this offseason. You mentioned the cheerleaders earlier with Rich Dalrymple. Of course, Jerry Jones, now the paternity issue. None of these necessarily are rise to the level of blowing out your owner. But just in the same way, the NBA, when Donald Sterling of the Clippers, and that was a badly run team for decades, he was a bad human being. That's a better team, and the league is better for having blown out Donald Sterling. And I really believe that in this case, the NFL needs to do this with the Washington team. I think they will be better served if they do it. And I hate to see anybody lose their job or lose their business, but in this case, Daniel Snyder's not a good dude. And, for the good of the game, let's move forward.
Well, and if there was ever
as a Cowboys fan, maybe. Go ahead.
Oh, if there's ever a time to do it, right? They're already setting this new chapter, right? They've already turned a page. They are officially the Commanders moving forward. There is no more placeholder. They've got the new logo. They've got the new jerseys. Start fresh. Start with someone new.
Yeah. That's a great point. This would be a good time to start a whole new history with them, because the history with Daniel Snyder has not been good. All right. Let's talk a little bit. It's the big story tonight. And as we mentioned earlier, what a great week. Major League Baseball starting on Thursday, and we'll get more heavily into that. We'll talk Astros and Rangers as we get closer. We had Chris Almendares of the Round Rock Express on. Their opening night is tomorrow night. The Masters later in the week. It's sure looking like Tiger Woods is going to make every effort to play in that, although he tweeted out over the weekend he will be a game-time decision. And our week begins, Shannon, tonight, the national championship game. It is Kansas versus North Carolina. I am pulling for Kansas. I'm telling myself I'm pulling for Kansas, not only just because I don't like Eric Church, and I don't want Eric Church to have any glee tonight if North Carolina wins, but I like Big 12. Yeah, let's. I think it's good for the Longhorns. It's good for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, Baylor, everybody in the Big 12 if Kansas wins. And technically, even though I don't remember it, Shannon, I was born in Salina, Kansas. I was an Air Force brat. My dad was in the military, stationed in Salina, Kansas when I was born. So in a weird way, I've got a Kansas connection, although I moved when I was like 1 year old and have no actual memory of Kansas. But who do you like tonight, Shannon, and why?
Yeah, I'm going to go chalk, take the favorites. Kansas favored by 4. I'm hoping for an excellent game. I'm hoping for something similar that we got between UNC and Duke. But also just for safety reasons, I think it's best that Kansas wins because I don't see Lawrence, Kansas really causing a ruckus. And the videos of the aftermath of UNC winning on Saturday night, I can't imagine what it would look like should they win a national title. Franklin Street, kind of the main area where all the bars are, there's a time-lapse video of the mobs of people from just before the game ends to shortly thereafter, and just the people in the street. It's madhouse, crazy scenes happening there. The inside of their basketball arena there in Chapel Hill, also just the second the game ends, mobs on the floor. I think Kansas will be better behaved. So for safety purposes, I'm going to go Rock Chalk Jayhawk, go KU. And I almost went there.
Jeremy Kolok, there you go. Jeremy Kolok, your mom picking Kansas and is one of the stars of our bracket. So early kudos to her, especially if Kansas wins. Are you going to keep it in the family and pick Kansas here?
Yeah, I'm a long time conference loyalist when it comes to Big 12 talk. I would like to see the Big 12 win. And I think I mentioned this to y'all a while ago. Kansas has a player that I think is NBA ready in O'Shea Abaji. And I didn't know how to pronounce his name.
I got to work on that.
But I mean, he scored 21 points in the Final Four game to send the Jayhawks. I mean, he was on fire from 3 to send the Jayhawks to the championship game, and he struggled a little bit in March. So he's catching fire here. Watch out for that's my player to watch tonight.
O'Shea Abaji.
Yeah,
Abaji. I'm
really
trying
good.
to learn on the pronunciation. And remember this: R.C. Buford of the Spurs has a close relationship with Kansas. His son went there. Bill Self, they're close. If O'Shea Abaji is as good as you say he is, Jeremy, he is probably on the Spurs radar. So Spurs fans tonight, keep an eye on O'Shea Abaji. Shannon, it was our poll question this morning. Very simple to our listeners and our viewers. Who's going to win tonight, Kansas or North Carolina? What did we learn?
Yeah, right now the votes 80-20 split here in favor of the Jayhawks. So, yeah, not a lot of faith in the Tar Heels.
I would have thought it would be closer. My goodness. And again, were there any Eric Church television sightings in the Duke game? I didn't see Eric Church on camera. I wonder if he will be tonight.
I can't recall. They may have, and I might have missed it. But yeah, I was hoping that we'd get more of those. Jeremy, one shining moment. Have it ready for tomorrow. I'm sure you already have it, but I'm just reminding you. The ball is tipped. Of course. Yeah, we're ready.
And I know I should be a bigger man and not this petty about Eric Church, but I don't want to see him happy tonight after canceling that concert. Shannon Salty Sweeney, Jeremy Kolok, outstanding as always. Let's do this again in 21 hours.
Taco Tuesday.
Why the hell not? Woo! Taco Tuesday, that's right. I might celebrate that early today. Our thanks as well to Chris Almendarez of the Round Rock Express. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Adios, amigos. See, Rick says, Wes Perkins, I don't know Kobe said that. The same can be said about Kobe's toughest competitor ever. I don't know what you're reacting to there, Rick. I'm sure it's something that Wes said earlier, and I don't see it in the comments, but I'm sure it's up there. So thank you. Thank you, Jason. And Jesse, you had tuned in late. Hope Solo got in trouble with the law. She had kids in the car, passed out. Apparently drunk. And yeah, so Shannon was talking about her Dancing with the Stars appearance. Okay, everybody. Have yourself a great Monday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll do this again in 21 hours. Go Kansas, my home state. I was born in Salina, Kansas. Lived there until I was like 10 months old. I'll have to go back someday. I don't think I've ever been back. Have I ever been through Kansas? I don't think I have. All right, y'all. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.